of Vassa, the 3-month rains retreat, is not the only period we can make merit. Even in the period outside of the Vasa, we can still continue to make merit. Like the wealthy merchant Anathapindika, Lady Visakha, and the male and female lay disciples in the time of the Buddha, who made merit both in the Vasa and outside of the Vasa, and especially Anathapindika, who was named as being one who is a refuge of those in poverty and hardships. He would set up 4 alms charity centers around the city of Savatthi, of where he was a wealthy resident. He had listened to the Dhamma from the Buddha in the forest of Sitavana, in Rajagir city of the Magdha kingdom, and he attained to Sotapanna, stream entry. Since then, he had the firm faith in making merit, in giving dana, in keeping Sila, and in Bhawana, cultivating the mind. His wife and many of his children also attained to becoming Aryas, noble beings. So this Vasa, we have had the faith that even if it's raining, we are determined to come to the monastery to make merit. And there has even been times when the roads were flooded and we couldn't come. So giving dana is beneficial to us in our building of parami, spiritual qualities. And it is of benefit to the larger public as well. And especially today, when it is the lunar observance day, when we undertake to keep Sila, the moral precepts, or keeping Sila every day, and then we will gain higher benefits. But in keeping Sila, we need to be careful as well. It's not that we just keep Sila, but we let our thoughts be all over the place. Though this is still of benefit, it is just small. We will have the happiness from the enjoyment of wealth, but we haven't yet got the Sila that gives the benefit of getting to Nibbana. So having Sila, we will have happiness in our minds, because we don't harm anyone. We sit and we are happy. We sleep and are happy. But if we keep higher Sila, which is for the aspiration of Nibbana, then our minds need to be determined to go practice Dhamma, to meditate, and to train and cultivate the mind to be better and higher. This is called being someone who is not careless in our life and in our youth, because we don't know when this sankhara, this bodily formation of ours, will break up. And in our day-to-day life, all through the Vasa, we have gathered together to practice goodness and to learn Dhamma. And the minds of each person wants to have happiness, doesn't want suffering, and doesn't want to harm others. But sometimes there are bad feelings occurring amongst people which makes their minds to be upset. This is because the mind is so quick. It thinks and then it wants to criticize, to scold, and to speak harshly. And sometimes we may have acted like this, but it is normal for one who is in training and practicing, still being a Seka Pugala, one who is in the process of training, to be like this sometimes. But the other person also wants to be liberated from suffering as well. So in this way, we see that bad people also want to aspire to be good. Each mind wants to have happiness, but they are controlled over by their ignorance, or avijja. The Samma Sambuddha, the perfectly awakened Buddha, had destroyed his ignorance and taught the way to destroy it as well. But mostly people have little strength of mind and so aren't able to be totally aware of this ignorance. Sometimes they lapse, sometimes they make mistakes. So we give our forgiveness to each other. We don't hold on to faults and anger at each other. We uphold that in this Vasa we will forgive each other. We redetermine to do this. So may we renew our mindfulness in this. Be someone who has dana, Sila, who has goodness, and has renewed their wholesome determinations. We have effort and persevere to be able to give up the unwholesome and to make merit. So no matter how difficult and troublesome it is, we will try and do it. We learn to do it, and then our minds will be able to be purified and liberated. So when the Sangha ends the Vasa, they will have a special Sangha meeting, which we call the Maha Bawarana Day. It is giving Bawarana an invitation to each other that, if I have made any mistake, may you help to admonish me as well. And staying together during these 3 months, by whatever intentional actions of body, speech, or mind that I have offended you, may we forgive each other. So this is called the Maha Bawarana Day. We may have views that aren't the same, that are in conflict, but we don't hold blame and anger over it. Because each of the monks wants to have happiness, and they want to gain Nibbana. Or for the lay people that are building goodness, you want happiness in the lay life as well. And on the ultimate level, you want Nibbana as well, because it is the highest happiness, where there is no suffering at all that is mixed in with the mind. So however that we cycle through death and rebirth, we get this sankhara, this body that is suffering, and it can't last. If we don't eat today, then suffering arises. If we don't rest, we suffer as well. However we look after and take care of this body, it still has sicknesses and pain afflicting it. And then the mind that is supported in this body will have suffering continually. So knowing that we have suffering waiting for us up ahead, then we aren't careless. We practice and build goodness, and especially bhavana is of utmost importance. Those that have dana and sila will have great benefits, but those that bhavana, meditate, will have even more benefits. And this sila is a quality that we should be able to keep easily. For those who keep sila easily, what will happen when they die? I want to share one story with you all. There was a daughter of a florist who lived in the city of Rajagir. Her name was Sunanda. She was a lay disciple of the Buddha, and who had higher knowledge on the level of being a Sotapanna. She had faith to take flower garlands and perfumes from her mother's house to puja, offer in homage at the chedi or stupa every day. She was paying homage personally there, but as is normal for the body, that even though she was a noble being and was wealthy, but she had some sickness afflicting her and died from it. But here, how was she reborn? She was born as an attendant to Saka, king of the Devas. This is something hard to attain, because King Saka has a lot of merit and parami, who is also a Sotapanna and who rules over the heaven realm. And she went to Chitalata garden, which belonged to King Saka, and she was accompanied by other Devas as well, but the Deva Sunanda had a great radiance. Why? Because she had offered flowers and perfumes, and she was also a Sotapanna. Her radiance encompassed the whole Chitalata garden. King Saka saw this and wanted to say a verse to praise the good actions and good mind of this Deva, of what she had done, so that the other Devas would know of them. King Saka asked, "Female Deva, who is beautiful, what is your name? You have a lot of Deva followers coming into this delightful Chitalata garden." She answered, "My name is Sunanda. I was a lay follower of the Buddha in the city of Rajagir. I had faith, sila and bhavana. I made merit, gave dana, gave alms to the poor often. I have great faith in the Samma Sambuddha. I offered the 4 requisites, robes, food, dwellings and lamps. And on the Uposatha observance days, I made special merit. I abstained from all bad karma. So I have been born with a very bright radiance." So she had received flowers from her attendants and took these flower garlands every day to offer to the stupa to homage the Lord Buddha, which was of great benefit to her. So you have taken food and flowers to puja and homage to the Lord Buddha, and then your minds will be bright and radiant. May you recollect this merit. And here Sunanda did this regularly, and so she had merit arise. And also in her mind she had the desire to attain higher to becoming a Sakadagami, a once-returner. So we are still practicing Dhamma, and we may be a Kalyana Chana, one who has a good mind, but not yet to the level of Sotapanna. But having faith like this will lead us to one day have our Barami to be full, and we will be able to see the Dhamma and can know the Dhamma. We will be able to attain and see Dhamma, and to cut off the kilesas, the mental defilements from the mind, and become an Arya Pugala, a noble being. When one is an Arya Pugala, then we will close off the lower realms, not being born in the hell, ghost, asura and animal realms. Being born as a human, we won't have an eighth life. We won't have to endure suffering going around death and rebirth, and keep seeking out birth and existence, which has no end to it. The cycle of samsara is so scary. So we have been born into this life and have this human body, and our mind has a lot of faith in the Buddha Sasana, the dispensation, and we also support the Buddha Sasana as well. In this way we know that our mind is a Kalyana Chana, or we are a Manusa Dewo, which is a human being that is a Dewa. And so how to see a Dewa? It is at the time when we make merit, and our mind has inner fulfillment and happiness. Even having the faith to help and give charity to those in difficulties, to those who are poor and troubled, we do this and have inner fulfillment. We know that this mind state which is being inwardly fulfilled and content is a Dewa, is a divine being already. It is a divine food. And there are some who may have lots of wealth and money, but just see it as being something normal. Why? Because they are not lacking any wealth. They may get more, but see it as ordinary. But as for this merit, when one gets it, one feels fulfilled. Having a lot of merit has more value than all the material wealth in the world. And the supreme treasure that has the most value is the treasure of the Buddha, the treasure of the Dhamma, the treasure of the Sangha. We give homage and puja that all the goodness we do, all our good karma that we have built, we offer in homage and puja the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and our mind will be joyful with making merit each time, and our faith will grow. So this is like what we have been doing all through the Vasa. So we have to practice the Dhamma. Even outside of the Vasa, we give dana as normal. We keep Sila as normal. We Bawarana consistently. When we Bawarana consistently, then we are practicing and making good karma by giving up the unwholesome and making merit. We recollect our virtue and goodness. And when we do good, we don't desire any results in return. There are just a few people, or even just a small portion of those who have Barami, that after having done goodness, they don't need anyone to know about it. They do it quietly, and they do it behind others' backs. Like we may have heard the saying of sticking gold leaf on the back of the Buddha statue. And the Venerable Ajahn Chah has said as well about the monks and novices washing their robes, and they just leave it all out and go. There is no one washing the tubs and things. He would talk and teach about this often. Ajahn Chah himself would wash, pack up, and sweep the area properly. He said no one knew about it and no one saw it, but he himself saw it. And the Dewas know in the goodness or good karma that we do. There is no need to tell others. There is no need for anyone to know, because we ourselves know. So here, this is a mind that has a lot of beauty. So we try to train in this, and try to do it like this. If we desire merit, and we make merit, then we will get merit as well. But if we have made merit already, then we don't need to boast or show it off. We just do it for the purpose of giving up our sense of me, our sense of mine, giving up our selfishness. And here we will get to the core of the teachings of the Samma Sambuddha. So may we determine our minds and hearts that we will continue to do good. Even if no one knows or no one talks about our good deeds, we have inner fulfillment in doing this, which we call sticking the gold on the back of the Buddha statue. And when we do it like this, then our minds will be joyous, and it will be imbued with Sila, Samadhi, and imbued with wisdom. So on the day we reach the end of the Vasa, we will continue to practice Dhamma. We will give forgiveness to each other. We will make our mind to be joyous and radiant. May your virtues and goodness, and the good karma that you build, lead you to gain success in the world and in the Dhamma. So we establish our minds that we will do goodness both in the Vasa and outside of the Vasa. And we will forgive everyone else, and we will forgive ourselves as well. Sometimes we may do something that's not right, so give forgiveness to yourself as well, and try to continue to develop mindfulness. Give dana, keep sila, develop mindfulness, and make our samadhi firm. Learn about the truth of nature, to understand it clearly. This is Dhamma practice, and it is puja to the Samma Sambuddha. May you all grow in the Dhamma.